Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen again, and happy Easter and happy Resurrection Sunday. It's Deborah Irene, and it's story time. Today, I want to tell another story and a family story about my grandmother, my aunts, and my mother, and things that they did. I've been really enjoying reminding myself of the things that they did and the way they lived life back in simpler times. So I have a story I'm going to read to you that I wrote for another Easter in years past. But first, I want to explain what I have in front of me here. I've talked a little bit about making apple butter. I've not read you that story yet. I've talked about my Aunt Lizzie and my grandmother and my mother and making apple pies and the domestic work that they did. Well, I have a little story before I read you that story to tell you about these lemons. I read something, I don't know if it was truth or not, back when the coronavirus first, the scare came out, and one of the remedies or the things to do that someone suggested if you got it, or really any kind of respiratory thing, was to take some lemons, and I believe it was pour hot water or boiling water over them and then drink that, and it's kind of like a tonic that breaks up the mucus or whatever to help you breathe better and clear out your lungs. Now, I have no idea if that's truth, but that's what I heard. So when I was at the store, I bought several lemons, and we're now a month later almost, and I haven't gotten sick. And I have all these lemons, and I didn't know what to do with these lemons. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to make some old-fashioned lemonade, and I'm going to put plenty of sugar in mine. And I thought, how am I going to make it? I don't have one of those popular juicers that they call today, but I remembered something my mother gave me and something she did, and it is this manual juicer. Now, I wasn't even sure this was called a juicer. I had to ask my sister, what do you call this thing? But I remember it was in my china cabinet of things my mother had given me. And one of my sisters said, it's a juicer. And I said, great, wonderful. I'm going to try to make some real lemonade. Now, I remember as a little girl in Southern California, we had plenty of oranges there. And my mother used to make fresh squeezed orange juice. And so let me show you how she did it. I've already done this once, so I know it works. I tried it, but should cut the orange. In this case, I'm making lemons, so in half, and then put that on. I don't even know what you call that thing in the middle. Maybe somebody else can help me with that. But you turn that around the center wedge thing, whatever it is. And sure enough, the juice is squeezed out of it. And at first I thought, well, I don't think I have enough lemons to make lemonade. I also received some advice from my sister about that. She looked it up on the internet as to how much water I need to add to the pure lemon juice here to make lemonade. You know what? I have only squeezed out 1.5 lemons. I have all this juice and some pulp. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave the pulp in my lemonade. I will pick out I'll pick out the seeds later, but look at what I have produced there, my produce. I'm a producer. Anyways, it's kind of fun to do things you don't normally do, and maybe you do that every day, but you know what? I got busy in my lifetime and just bought the frozen, the concentrate in the refrigerator at the grocery store, but I'm going to make some real lemonade, just like my mother used to do, my grandmother, my Aunt Lizzie. So here's another little tidbit of information. Oh, and I should point out The apron I'm wearing today, let me stand up here. Now, I think if I had this apron on, look, see, I could put different things in the pockets as I'm there. If I had this apron on, I think my grandmother would have done an eye roll because it's kind of it says Princess Domestic Diva. It was a fun little gift a friend gave me one time, but right now it's the only apron I've got. I think my grandmother would look at that and that's not a practical apron, but hey, it's an apron. So let me read you a story from my book, Someday I Will Write. This story is titled Different Times, and it's from the section, A Time for Family. Chapter 24, Different Times. It was Good Friday, a mild spring day. The wind whistled in from the partially open bedroom windows, swishing everything to the floor, not weighted down. Let me stop there and tell you when I wrote this rather than telling you at the end. I wrote this in April 2014, so it was 6 years ago. I didn't mind. This would be one of the few days to enjoy fresh air before we thrust the thermostat into air conditioning mode. One of the disadvantages of the Midwest, hot, humid summers that usually debut a month early. Days like this remind me of Aunt Lizzie and my childhood long ago. She didn't seem to need air conditioning as the breeze blew in and out of windows in her small country home. The breeze helped dry clothes, sheets, and towels on the clothesline. It was all about family in those days. Moms, dads, brothers, sisters, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles, cousins, being with each other and helping each other, very much like the television show, The Waltons. I raised my sons in a world full of modern conveniences, air conditioning, microwave, and a clothes dryer, to name a few, but still cherished family traditions. We stayed home Thanksgiving and Christmas Day for our own family tradition, but made time for extended family on the weekend before or after. Every Easter, provided no one was sick, we traveled to my mother's. My dad passed away way too soon. We colored and decorated eggs on Saturday, not my favorite thing, but I endured for their sake and their cousins, while a friend styled Grandma's hair for Sunday services. After church on Sunday, we shared a family dinner, then launched a marathon Easter egg hunt over and over and over. I got really tired. Sunshine or clouds in Grandma's spacious yard that still displayed a clothesline. I can't tell you how many times I wanted to hang clothes on a line over the years and watch all my concerns blow away. More than anything, I wanted a close-knit family like I had growing up, like the Waltons. I wanted to pass on those special traditions. I wanted my boys to want it too. But the world changed. Nintendo, Xbox, boomboxes, and cassettes to CDs and iPods, Game Boys and desktops to laptops to iPads, a telephone in every room to large cell phones, then small cell phones, and then one for every member of the family. I couldn't stop progress and couldn't force the desire for these simple things, family gatherings, listening to the crickets and June bugs, catching lightning bugs, sitting under a shade tree on a summer day when your SUV breaks down in the middle of Iowa, and eating Grandma's chicken and dumplings. This Easter, they have their own lives. I made the trip to Grandma's without them and without asking. After all, they are grown and live in different cities. I looked for a clothesline along the way. It was a lovely day with redbuds and daffodils in bloom, but I didn't see a clothesline. I enjoyed a few hours with my mother and sisters, didn't have to color eggs, and watched the beautiful sunset on the drive home. When I shut off the lights that evening to end the day, I didn't hear, "Good night, John boy." Instead, the stillness reminded me of my empty nest. The breeze gently rippled the blinds, but then one of my sons called, and I smiled. "Mom, could you please send me your coffee cake recipe? Someday, I will put up that clothesline to watch my worries blow away, smell the freshness of the sheets from the open air and sunshine, and remember those good old days. And 100 years from now, when I'm celebrating in glory, my yet-to-be grandchildren will boast about the best coffee cake in the whole world, the one that Grandma made." So I'm predicting the future a little bit there. I hope you enjoyed this story time from my book, Someday I Will Write. Now I'm going to have a special treat for you. If you care to tune in later, it won't be live, but I am going to post one more video today because I had another Easter story and I had a hard time deciding which one to read, so I'm going to read them both. So the second one I'll read a little bit later tonight. Thanks for joining me today. Happy Easter and happy Resurrection Sunday.